Welcome to Guided Spirit Conversations. I'm your host, Marla Goldberrg. This podcast has been created with you in mind to acquaint you with some of the most incredible metaphysicians and spiritual leaders from around the globe who have helped others change their lives. In this interactive hour, you will be offered insights and techniques to help you make a difference in your life. Don't forget to subscribe to the show in your favorite listening platform. And here we go, on to the show. Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Happy Thursday. I'm Marla Goldberrg, your host, and I am so happy to be here with you live. I just wanted to, before we start the show and I introduce our guest, I just want to once again please ask that we send love, support, healing, whatever we can, whether it's in an esoteric way or an actual physical way, to those of Ukraine, the soldiers, the volunteers, the people who have not been able to leave the country, to the countries surrounding Ukraine, sending prayers and help and support in the highest and best way you can. Thank you. Okay, so the show, yay! I'm so excited. David Robertson is back with us today, and David has been an aware medium since childhood. He's honed his skill and his spiritual abilities with a lifetime of study, and is deeply attuned to the spiritual dimensions of light. He earned a doctorate in Ro-Hun Transpersonal Therapy from Delphi University, and with further studies in mediumship at Arthur Findlay College in England and Kingswell College in Scotland, David specializes in perceiving and facilitating the movement, release, and balance of energies in the emotional, mental, and spiritual states. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Marla. It's great to be with you again.
Always great to see you and share conversation. So this is new. You are going to be putting on I know it's Celebrate Your Spirit at Delphi University, but it's like a 4-hour course on the modern day mystic.
Yes, the first weekend in every month at Delphi, except January, we have what's called a Connecting with Spirit weekend. And the first night is a free healing sanctuary. And then that's on a Friday night. Saturday morning at 10, there will be a 3-hour workshop, and we'll be going into more detail about what it means to be a mystic in modern day. And then the Sunday morning, there's always a beautiful meditation in the Temple of Wisdom. It's a great weekend. It's a great opportunity to come and get to know Delphi a little bit and explore the campus and just get your feet wet.
And feel the energy there, which is,
Yeah,
oh my God, amazing.
it is.
So, I mean, it's like a magnet for me. I just keep coming back for more.
I'm so lucky to live here now.
Yes. And not only live there, but you are such an integral part of what's coming, like the new regime coming into the school. That's how I look at it. So thank you for that. Okay, let's talk about mysticism or being a mystic. What is a mystic?
A mystic is someone that knows we are many, we are one. That you are you and I am me, and at the same time, we're still one. A mystic knows God's evolutionary plan for humanity is to explore every aspect of consciousness, the light and the shadows, in order to master them. We can't master something until we've experienced it, until we've explored it. And a master is cool with that concept. It's part of the deal of life on Earth.
Well, to be proficient in any area of your life, whether it's being a mystic, it's practice. It's learning about it and then walking the talk of it. Would you agree or disagree?
Absolutely, you've got to apply it. I'm a classically trained singer, and something I heard continually for many years was, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? You practice, you practice, you practice. It's the same thing with being a mystic. You've got to move out of intellectual agreement with spiritual theory and actually begin to walk it in our everyday life.
How do we walk it in our everyday life?
It's not easy. It will challenge you many days. But the desire to stay on the path of a mystic reaps its own rewards because we're starting to put out enlightened energy consciously. And that enlightened energy comes back to us as enlightened energy. So the more we stay on the path of the mystic, the smoother our life becomes. We become more productive. We create more fulfilling relationships and experiences.
Can you give us some highlights of what this might look like, walking the path of a mystic?
Well, I think it's important to know what a mystic is and a mystic's perception of life. A big one is that a mystic knows everyone has free will to choose the pace of their own evolution. Meaning, we're not going to be judging where someone is at.
Right.
A mystic knows that every one of us will get out of the flowing and knowing of love. That's the nature of duality. And when we do that, we're going to make mistakes. Making mistakes equals experience. And experience leads us to wiser choices in the future.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And that's when our karma begins to be less intense because we're making enlightened choices with our thoughts and our feelings, which then create and attract much easier circumstances in life.
Nice.
One of the key things of being a mystic is knowing that love and forgiveness are the only two energies that can permanently transform any circumstance. And a mystic begins to apply those two energies to every circumstance.
It's people have a hard time with forgiveness. So if somebody goes, wait a minute, how do I walk around forgiving? How do you address that? What's your response to people who say things like that?
I think the biggest stumbling block with forgiveness is folks mean that whatever didn't happen. Forgiveness means that if someone abuses you,
Mhm.
a mystic knows to step away from the intensity of the situation and begin to observe through the eyes of their higher self. When someone abuses another, it's because they're out of the flowing and knowing of love. And we make bad mistakes when we get out of the flowing and knowing of love. It is not really personal. The other thing we need to stay cognizant of about forgiveness is no one gets off scot-free. You can forgive the person who abused you. It doesn't mean they're going to escape the inevitable consequences of their actions. But by forgiving them, you're easing yourself out of the situation. You're no longer allowing that person and their behavior to negatively affect you.
Do you feel that forgiveness somewhat cuts the cord that we might have to our abuser, whomever that might be?
Yes, and until you forgive, you will stay karmically tied to them for lifetimes. And that's not a thought that a lot of people want to entertain or grasp, but it's the truth.
It is the truth, and
We
you're right.
stay tied to them until we forgive them.
And I always like to say, forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. You're not letting anybody
is.
off any hooks.
You're not.
So when you walk the path of a mystic, I understand that you look and you process in a different kind of a way, but are there concrete steps to walking the path of a mystic?
I would call them the vows of the mystic.
Okay.
And I learned these vows from one of Patricia Hayes's book, Light from the Heavens. It's a beautiful book of internal art. And in that book, she shares the vows. And the first vow is, I vow to allow others to disagree with me without separating from them.
That's huge. I mean, today in this day and age, oh my God, David,
It
with the cancel
is.
culture, if you don't agree with me, you can't be in my life.
I think it's important to really begin to understand with that first vow what love is. Love is not fairy tales and roses and unicorns. Love is not even an emotion. Love is a consciousness that is focused in acceptance and compassion, warmth, and connection.
Oh, I like that. I like that definition of love because it changes what we're brought up with. It changes
Yes.
what we're taught by TV and movies, and even fellow human beings who say, oh, that's not love, this is love. When really what they're sharing is not true love
Mhm.
because it's not of the conscious love. Does that make sense?
It does. And another one of my favorite definitions of love is it is the response of our higher self or our eternal self without the reaction of wounded emotions.
Oh, I like that. It's pure. Yeah,
It's true. When we're reacting toward ourselves or toward another, we know we've just stepped out of the flowing and knowing of love. That's a marker. When we're reacting, stop and pause. We have a choice. We can move back into the flowing and knowing of love and free ourselves from all that reactive energy and the effects of it on us and other people.
it's so true. And it's powerful effects. It's not subtle. It doesn't mean like you necessarily are going to miss it because of the feeling of it. So what is the second vowel?
Is I vow to live peacefully in the world with everyone, even when they do not agree with me.
I
And
like
that's
that
what I
too.
was saying a few moments ago that it's a mystic knows everyone is evolving at their own pace. They're exploring all the aspects of consciousness, the light and the dark, in order to master them. So if we're exploring the consciousness of being a tyrant, that's where they're at. Don't take it personally. They've stepped out of the flowing and knowing of love. Send them what they need. Send them
Which
love.
is love, yes.
And that gets subtle because we're not loving their behavior.
Right.
We're not supporting their behavior.
Correct.
We're compassionately observing it and recognizing that just like ourselves, they've gotten out of the flowing and knowing of love. So send them love. That's
Yeah,
what they need.
I agree. I don't know if you've heard any of the announcements I've made, but I always, now since the war is brought out, I say send love to Putin because why?
Absolutely.
Anybody who can do
Absolutely.
such heinous crimes really needs it.
Mhm. Love is the
Mm,
most powerful force in the universe. So
it is.
why aren't we using it every day?
Yeah.
You
I don't know. Do you feel that sometimes people feel there's only like a limited reserve amount of love that they have to give, opposed to an unlimited resource of love that you can have and give at any moment?
They a lot of people have that, and it's the truth is it's based in the limited amounts of love for ourselves. The more
Yeah.
unconditional, and I don't even like that word, but the more love we have for ourselves, we realize we are love and we're here to be loved, and it moves through us. Therefore, it's not limited.
It isn't. It's so lovely.
So, if love is unlimited, and it is unlimited, why would we withhold it from anybody?
That's the big question. That's the golden key question, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Out of
Yes.
all of them, why do we withhold it? Because people use it as a form of manipulation. I'm
Yes.
just,
Yes.
rather than just like saying, I don't need you to do anything that you're not willing to do. I'm opposed to bending under my will kind of thing. Let's go to number three. What is number three, Val?
I vow to agree to disagree with others without attempting to prove them wrong.
Oh, that's love. That's a whole exercise in acceptance.
And I will honestly say that's still the one that kicks my butt the most.
Well, because it's that human piece of us.
It is, but the more I don't try to prove someone else wrong, the more peace and harmony I'm living in.
It's
Just
true.
accepts. It goes back to love and the acceptance. Let them have their beliefs.
And let them have what they're here to have instead of trying to take it away for them. There are many parents who will try to keep their child from experiencing X, Y, or Z, and they'll step in the way. But the child might need to do that for their growth, their well
Yeah,
being in the
yeah.
long run.
Once you let a child walk up and they hit that hot stovetop, no matter how many times you've told them not to do it, they do it and they get burned. Then they learn through
Right.
experience. But mommy says don't do that, it's for a reason.
Right.
I think with
Absolutely.
Vow 3, it's important to begin to actually walk that we can peacefully advocate and demonstrate for change that's beneficial for everyone without making someone else the villain.
Yes.
That's enlightened consciousness. We can demonstrate change without attacking someone else. And we see that so much these days in our country and all across the globe.
And part of it is taking ownership and responsibility for your
Mhm.
behavior and actions. Would you feel that true?
Self responsibility is the key, is the gateway to our divine power.
Yes.
Until you step into that self responsibility, you're living in fantasy. Until
Yeah.
we take that responsibility for every circumstance of our lives. A mystic knows consciousness creates. Thought fueled with emotional energy is literally the Legos, the building blocks of our existence.
Yes.
And we are God, we are Goddess. So who in the hell has power over God?
No one?
Nobody. So therefore, no one has power over us. No one has the power to make us choose faulty thoughts and negative feelings. We're the only one that have that power to choose how we're going to perceive a situation.
That's so true. That is
We,
just
we
so
either
real.
perceive through the limited awareness of our ego/personality, or we rise above it and view the circumstances through our higher mind or our higher self. And that's what the new day is about.
What
Is
is the
where
new day?
it's a time in humanity's evolution when we begin to realize no one's coming to save us. It's up to us. And we begin to return to reason and desire to be the change and transformation we long to see. In other words, the new day is already here. And if folks haven't noticed the intensity, buckle up because it's going to get even more intense. And the new day unfolds one soul at a time as we begin to surrender and move inward and take responsibility for the lives we're creating and stop blaming parents, politicians, the economy, our exes. It's up to us. There's more love in this dimension now than there's ever been before. We have huge support and guidance coming to us from other dimensions. And what's happening is that increased light is pushing all the darkness that's been hidden and suppressed to the surface. And the more of us begin to confront and transform that energy with love and forgiveness, the quicker we're going to move through it.
I agree. I really do agree with that statement and what it is. So I want to go back to the vow because we still have number
Okay.
4 to attack, and then we
Yeah.
can go back to more about the new day. But let's go to vow number 4.
I do want to say one more thing about the third vow, and it's that remember, we're all villains or abusers. when we're out of the flowing and knowing of love. So the more we can recognize that and return ourselves back to the flowing and knowing of love, it's a choice. And recognize that other people have also, they get triggered, they get out of the flowing and knowing. Stop taking it personally.
Well,
Everyone's saying be the change these days. That's what it means to be the change.
isn't it?
Get back into the flowing and knowing, no matter what's happening.
So, do you have any tips or suggestions? Let's say somebody is going along their day and all of a sudden, something triggers them and they step out of their flow. Do you have any suggestions on how somebody may do or say or think something that might get them back on that flow road?
Yes, the first step is kindness and compassion with yourself. We're all going to get triggered. Don't start shaming and blaming and guilting yourself when you get out of the flowing and knowing. Gently return yourself back to it. If there's a reactive energy of anger, sadness, shame, or fear on it, breathe it out of your system. Just let it go. It's just a thought and a feeling. You don't have to hang on to it. Release it and engage your desire to move back into the flowing and knowing.
So would this be a good time when you're feeling out of the flow to do that love breathing?
Yes.
So let's explain. I'm going to let you do it as you are our guest today. What love breath or love breathing is, how you do it.
I do a really simple one, and I move my awareness to the root chakra, close my eyes, and I simply breathe in, moving my energy, my awareness up into the heart chakra for the count of 6. I hold it in the heart chakra for the count of 3. Then I release it for the count of 6.
So 6,
And
hold 3, release 6.
I do sometimes 3 or 4 cycles of this. And what you're actually doing, remember the personality lives in the bottom 3 chakras.
Yes.
So what we're doing is we're saying to the personality, all right, let's go to the heart and recharge our battery. Get back in the flow and the knowing. So you're providing yourself a structure through the breath to just go back to the garden of the heart. Reset, recharge, and begin moving back out into the outer world in the flowing and knowing of love. It's not hard to do.
No, but you just have
It's
to be aware. It's mindfulness.
it is. And it's a choice. The more we do it, the more our life smooths out. And and our desire to do it increases. And we know, you and I know, desire is the first step to accomplishing anything.
Yeah,
If the desire is not there, we're not going to do it.
right. That's so true.
Mhm.
So is there another name for desires that somebody might be able to wrap their mind around?
Longing is a word I like to use. We all long to have peace in our life. We all long to have greater wisdom and love.
It's true.
And literally, the desire or the longing is the spark of energy that ignites that inner movement or the outer movement. It depends on where we're focusing our consciousness.
And you can do either or do them both simultaneously
Yes,
if you have
yes,
the capacity to do it, right? I mean, once you're well practiced, you should
yes.
be. I cancel the should word. You are capable of
We are
doing it.
all capable. We are all created exactly the same in the image of God. We all have those talents as innate abilities within us. We just got to choose to start using them.
So true. And that would go to our fourth vow, which is
The fourth vow is I vow to be an instrument of harmony and unity rather than division and chaos.
love that. I feel it right in my heart. That is so beautiful.
A big one these days are all the politics and the conspiracy theories.
Yes.
We have to remember that the trickster or Satan's job is to create division and to make us believe in the limited power of love and light. Therefore, politics and conspiracy theories are the trickster's game, and we can choose to participate in it or not. Now, that's just one example. There are many ways that we can create division and chaos. We can come home from work and be in a pissy mood and take it out on our family.
Yes.
That's another example of creating division and chaos.
And that does not bring harmony in your home life.
It doesn't.
And
You
then
know, I because politics and conspiracy theories are so in everybody's faces these days, I like to say we can stop blaming and shaming those who voted for Trump or those who voted for Biden. Stop blaming and shaming those who were vaccinated or didn't get vaccinated.
yes,
Stop drinking that corrosive red or blue political Kool-Aid, for God's sake.
I agree. I
You know,
agree.
we are not a Democrat. We are not a Republican. We're not a libertarian. We are beings of light here to evolve. And we get so caught up in all the labels and roles that the red Kool-Aid and the blue Kool-Aid tell us to be.
Right.
Stop it. We have another choice. We
It's,
can be the love. We can be the change.
and we can be accepting of somebody else's choice, even if it doesn't resonate with ours, without
Yes,
condemning them
absolutely.
to, life outside, off the island, so to speak.
One of the things a mystic knows is that every thought and feeling we have individually has an inevitable ripple effect upon the collective.
Yes, it does.
So every time that person cuts us off in traffic and we take a breath, all right, light on your way, instead of flipping them off,
Right.
we've just contributed a bit of peace and harmony to the collective that was not there before.
Right.
And the more of us begin to do that, contributing harmony and unity to the collective, the light in the collective is going to get so strong that it tips the scales in our favor. What that this world of peace that everybody wants to see is going to happen much quicker
Yes.
as we become instruments of harmony and unity and stop waiting on the aliens to show up and save us or the angels or the planets.
Right.
Yeah, the angels and the cosmic beings are supporting us, but they're supporting and guiding us to be the change individually. Because God's spirit only flows into this dimension through each of us.
Right.
We are the gateways.
That's so true. It's so true. I love the words you're saying because it really brings light onto ways that we can easily start shifting. Nobody's expecting anybody to take that giant leap in going from somebody who's not in the flow to immediately being like, the biggest mystic there, but it's a process. You have to start. It's like in anything, you have to start with a baby step first and then start building up your competence and confidence in the ability to stay in your flow. And the more you practice it, like anything else, the more proficient you become in living that way.
It becomes the habit or the groove that we live in.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that are, and I used to be one of them, looking for that magic process that helps me ascend. And one big flash of light, and all of a sudden I'm one with the angels and floating up in a beam of light. And it doesn't happen that way. Ascension means we're rising above the limited consciousness or awareness of our personality, surrendering to our higher mind, the enlightened mind of God, our higher self, and expressing that aspect of consciousness. And that's a daily choice.
I
And we're
love the
talking,
word.
yeah,
I'm going to interrupt real quick because the
yes.
word choice is huge
Mm.
to me. I want to like highlight it, underline it, make it bold, because choice is what we pretty much live our life with. We have choices, and
Yeah,
these choices can be incredibly transformational.
it's so true. And we live in a world of duality.
Yes.
We're always going to have tests and challenges. That's the deal here. So, and there's going to be days we get triggered out of the flowing and knowing, of the walking the path of a mystic. So then we choose to rise above the limited awareness of our personality, back into the flowing and knowing of our enlightened self. It's okay, guys, when we step off the path. God knew, God created this system.
For a reason.
She didn't create it to be easy.
No.
It takes a lot of repetition and a lot of practice and a lot of patience to reopen those channels within us so that they become natural. They become our natural state.
Yes.
And it's likely not going to happen in one lifetime.
It's hard to believe that, right? When you say that, like
Mhm.
like really, I have to come back and do this again and have more, and it's like, yep.
Evolution is a painfully slow process to the personality. But when we're looking at it through the eyes of our higher self, they're happening in a flash. All those lifetimes are happening in an instant.
And that's what people, people say, oh my God, I can't believe this year is over. It's gone so quickly. That's sort of the flash that when you're on the other side in spirit form, how you feel things. Would you agree?
Yes, yes. I think, we were talking about the new day a little while ago, and in the new day, our feminine feeling energy is stepping forward in full on partnership and harmony with our masculine, with our mind. It is our feeling feminine energy that leads us home to love, to God. Our masculine wise self creates the concept, agrees with the concept. Yeah, I need to go home to God. I need to go home to love. It's time. But it's our feminine feeling energy that leads us into the experience.
And yeah, it does. And because you have to feel it.
You have to feel it.
And sometimes it doesn't feel good, like you mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
because not everything is going to feel good all the time.
It isn't. And when those negative feelings come around, we need to honor them. Don't shove them away. Own what they're doing to us, how they're making us behave. And then we have the choice. We can send that reactive energy, that reactive negative feeling, some love. Say, I hear you. I understand you. Now I'm setting you free. Go home to the light. Because that's what all that reactive energy is really, that's why it's acting out. It's longing to get back into the flowing and knowing of love. It's like a bratty child. They're acting out because they want love.
And attention. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So give it what it really needs. It needs to get home. It needs to come back into that flowing and knowing. And the more we do that, we become really, really proficient at it. That energy will come in. We'll quickly own it, recognize it. We don't shame it. I see you. I love you. I know you've gotten out of the flowing and knowing. I forgive you for feeling it. Now I'm sending you home to the light. It's a choice. We are masters. It is that literally that simple to transform energy. I go
Yes.
back to where I started is that a mystic knows that love and forgiveness are the only two energies that can permanently transform any circumstance.
Yes. Yes. Wow. I love that. And it's just, we need to practice it more, in my opinion. How we can transform and go back into the flowing and knowing. And I love how you say that. Flowing and knowing of love.
It is, and I coined that phrase several years ago. Knowing is it means we're in the intellectual agreement with the theories, but we're also in the flow, which means we're feeling that love moving through us. I like to say that love becomes the bride of wisdom and wisdom becomes the groom of love.
Oh,
That's
I
the
love
that's the
that.
that's the male and the female coming together in harmony. That's the Christ consciousness. And that's what's unfolding in the new day. That's what a mystic is doing, is embracing and exploring that Christ consciousness and expressing it on a day-to-day basis.
I have to say, this is the perfect time, in my opinion, of course, to have this class that you're going to be putting on the 7th of May at Delphi University, because this is such a needed understanding and knowing, learning and knowing.
And those who have taken my classes before know that I like to bring it down to the 9 to 5 level, not light and fluffy. How can I make this real today and apply it?
Do you have any tips or that or bullet points that you can just say how people would know to apply it? What they need to apply. We know the love, we know the forgiveness.
The 4 vows keep you focused on your behavior. Because that's how I learned. Am I in the flowing and knowing of love or not? How am I behaving? Am I disagreeing with somebody and attempting to make them wrong and prove it? Then I've just stepped out of the 3rd vow. If I feel like shaking Putin till his head falls off, I'm not in vow 2. I'm
Right,
not living peacefully with him. I don't have to support what he's doing,
right.
but I can send him the energies of love and harmony. And honest to God, I know if enough people focused love on him like a laser,
Yes.
it would snap him out of where he's at. So to me, the 4 vows are the way. They're short, they're simple, they're sweet,
Can you
and they
repeat
keep
all
us
four of
focused. Yeah,
them?
and I won't go into the elaboration, but the first is I vow to allow others to disagree with me without separating from them. 2 is I vow to live peacefully in the world with everyone, even when they do not agree with me. Live and let live.
Yes.
3rd vow, I vow to agree to disagree with others without attempting to make them wrong. Let them have their evolutionary path.
Yes.
And the 4th is I vow to be an instrument of harmony and unity
Mm.
rather than division and chaos.
I think that's my favorite one because it's about living together. And again, we don't have to like everybody. We don't have to agree with everybody, but we can treat people with a semblance of respect
Yeah.
and just say, you've got the right to live your life. I have the right to live mine. My gift to you is live your life your way for me and allow me to do the same.
One of my favorite singers is Kristen Chenoweth, and she's come out with a children's book called How Can I Use My Love Today?
Oh,
It is such a sweet little message. And if each one of us woke up in the mornings and that was our first thought, how can I use my love today? That sets the course for our day.
It does. And isn't it a beautiful thing to wake up instead of going, oh, I'm so tired, I don't feel well, I ache, I pain, that, okay, how am I going to use my love today? And then move forward with whatever it is you decree you're going to use your love for.
Spirit has prompted me to say something. So, we're all going to get out of the flowing and knowing. We're going to step off the path of the mystic. How do we get back on? The first thing is stay off the cross. We need the wood. Don't get back into suffering. There's no movement in being nailed to the cross.
I love that.
Kindness and gentleness with ourselves when we get off the path. We're going
Yes.
to make mistakes. And the important thing about mistakes is to realize God, Goddess, Source, whatever word you want to use, intended us to make mistakes. That's how we grow. Because
Yes.
mistakes lead to enlightened choices in the future.
Yeah, it does.
And as I was saying a few minutes ago, feel the desire or the longing to get back on the path.
Yeah.
It's not big, long, hard, complicated.
It's
Pretty
not,
simple.
but
It's not, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it's easy because it isn't. But it's simple. And one of the things I pounded into myself every day, be the love no matter what.
I love that.
Somebody cut you off in traffic, be the love no matter what. A politician is showing their butt, be the love no matter what. Your spouse is nagging at you or bitching you out today, rise above it. Be the love no matter what.
I really like that. I think I need to make a needlepoint pillow that says be the love no matter what, because it's something.
And to me, that sums up the whole movement of the new day. It's be the love no matter what.
Yeah. I will share. I know we brought up the car thing a few times, people cutting you off. And, before I used to be one of those that would flip someone off or, because the fear would get to me. That's the thing. The fear would get to me and I would become reactive. Now, as long as I'm safe, but I go, who knows if they have an emergency, that they're not just being jerks. They might have an emergency and they're rushing someplace. You don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So give them the grace to do what they feel they need to do without you stepping outside of your path of the knowing and flowing, as you say.
I'm hearing another thing to share, and it's about love. I think in the new day, we are refining our understanding of what love is.
Mm-hmm.
And a big one that I've struggled with, and I see it in my clients all the time, is love does not demand that another fill the void that we refuse to fill for ourselves.
I like that. Yeah, it's true.
Well, so many of us think that's what love is, that
Mm-hmm.
the other person is going to complete us and make us feel safe and valuable and worthy. No one else can do that for us.
No, they can't.
We can attract people that mirror that within us,
Yes.
but they can't do our work for us. And to demand that another person change so that we feel safe or worthy of love or in control, that's not love.
Yeah.
And I see it so much in relationships.
Well, that's where it usually rears its head in relationships, and whether it's romantic relationship, professional relationship, even friendship relationships. People want you to do what they want. They want you to bend under their will.
Yes. Yeah.
And
And, you know, that's really the whole codependent. That's when the codependent triangle comes in. We all turn into rescuers, victims, and villains.
yes,
And at no point on that triangle are we in the flowing and knowing of love.
it's true. It's so true. Hey, David, I need to take a break really quick.
Okay.
We are going to do charity shout out. And I love your charity choice today, which is Church of Wisdom, which is at Delphi University. Let's talk about the Church of Wisdom and what it does and what it offers.
The Church of Wisdom is non-denominational. It embraces all faiths, and it is structured so that the Church of Wisdom can train healers and teachers to be the new day, to help people move
Mm,
into knowing their own divinity and expressing it. You know, the Church of Wisdom has now ordained people in over 42 countries.
wow, that's amazing.
And, you know, we're out there quiet. We don't do a lot of fanfare,
No,
but we're all dedicated. I love what Marshall Smith said, and it directly applies to the Church of Wisdom. And it's that every healer endeavors to awaken within their client the realization of their own divinity.
I love that. What haven't I loved? This is, yeah, Marshall is an amazing man in his human form, and that is a great statement.
And it's really what the Church of Wisdom is all about.
And it is, I think that Church of Wisdom is somewhat understated, but it is powerful. It is powerful. Even if you just go in and sit there and just sit there in your meditation, the energy and the history and all it has in there, and all the beings on the other side that support this Church of Wisdom, like Mauricio and Marshall, to name a couple.
Yes.
Amazing. So you can donate to the Church of Wisdom. I'll go to delphiu.com/delphi-mission-statement and see how you can or give whatever you can. Anything is appreciated.
It is.
Thank you. Okay, David. So we're sort of winding up our time. What
Okay.
haven't I asked you? What haven't we talked about that you really would like to share with everyone?
Hmm. To get excited about the new day.
Okay.
I know things seem insane right now, and actually they are.
Yes.
But I firmly believe, even beyond belief, I know that in this insanity of the division, what we're actually gaining is beginning to value love. Because we're so separated and it's so insane, and we are experiencing the results of that insanity, that we're going to begin to move back toward unity and harmony. Because it's the most reasonable direction to take.
Mm-hmm.
We've experienced the opposite. Now let's drop all the labels and begin to move back into oneness. So even though things may seem really intense right now, stay focused on the big picture. It's happening. There is more light in this dimension than there has ever been. Things are rapidly changing.
And
Don't
here's
don't despair. Don't give up. Stay focused on what you can contribute every day. Let everybody else worry about themselves. You be the love. You be the change. And remember, the smallest acts of love get contributed to the collective.
it's so
And
true.
it causes the whole collective to evolve that much quicker. So never estimate how you can use your love today and its impact upon everybody else on the planet.
God, if it would be just amazing what we would experience if we just stepped out of our non-flowing selves to do a kindness, just a little kindness to somebody. It could be as much as picking up a baby's pacifier off the ground or a toy or whatever it might be. And it makes you feel so good. I mean, we all want to feel good. And doesn't giving and supporting and extending ourselves to other people in a kind, generous way make you feel good? Being of service?
It does. Smiling at somebody.
Yes.
We don't really. I think we underestimate
Oh, yes.
what that can do for somebody. So as you're going through the door at the grocery store and that person has a sad, glum look on their face, you'd have no idea what kind of day they've had.
Right.
Smile at them and send them a burst of love. Whatever, I tell my clients, they ask me all the time, what color is love? What color is love for you? It doesn't matter. You choose a color that works for you and see that color moving around that person's face, their shoulder, moving into their heart. All we have to do is send the love. The love knows what to do when it gets there. Because love is God.
Yes, it is. I just feel it right here in my heart chakra, and it just feels it feels warm. It feels like, well, I come from Chicago. I remember when I was a little girl and I'd come home and my mother would be cooking, which she didn't do very often. And if the lights in the house were up, I just remember a time where there was sparkly snow outside. It was cold outside, but the house was lit up. You walk in, and there's fragrance of food wafting being cooked, and there was just this warmth that just encompassed me, and that to me is my feeling. So when I know that I've hit that spot, that's what I go back to, and it's just so beautiful and warm, and it feels great. And don't we want to feel great? Isn't that the ultimate act
Yes.
of our being on this planet, is to feel great?
And that's what a mystic does, is they stay focused on their longing or their desire to be in that flowing and knowing. A mystic knows devotion to being a mature expression of love is the greatest work of man. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. I know many masters have said it. I believe Yogananda said it, that the greatest gift you can give to humanity is your own enlightenment. Because as you enlighten yourself, you're contributing that enlightened energy to the collective. Imagine what happens when all of us, or many of us, are doing that. How quickly the new day will unfold. And we will see the end to so much of the strife, chaos, and division.
That would be such an amazing way to experience life, of us all coexisting. We don't have to, again, agree. I am saying we don't have to agree with everyone to coexist. We just have to respect the differences in each other
Mhm.
and allow everybody to have their own experience without trying to take it away from them.
Yeah. And to remember, we all have to explore the light and the shadow aspects of consciousness. We
Yes.
may not be exploring the shadow archetype of a tyrant in this life, but I promise you we have.
Oh, yeah,
So when
absolutely.
when we forgive ourselves for our own abuse of power when we were the tyrant, then it becomes effortless to forgive someone else's exploration of it. We're not supporting their behavior, we're not condoning it, but we're sending them what they need, love and forgiveness, to move more quickly through the exploration of that shadow archetype. Condemning them and shaming and blaming them only entrenches them in it.
It does. Those are powerful words to end our podcast on. David, I am overwhelmed with emotion from what you're sharing in the most positive, loving way. And I feel that it's being said today because it's something that the masses, the many, need to hear. But if you want to have an up close and personal understanding, at least stepping into your mystic self, look at Delphi University and check out the I'm sorry, I always screw it up. Continuing
the
connecting.
Connecting with Spirit weekend.
Thank you. Connecting with Spirit weekend, which I go to, but I'm screwing up the name. So I apologize. Connecting with Spirit weekend, the weekend of May 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Yes.
Because the 6th, you can go to the Healing Sanctuary and get a healing. The 7th, you can be with David and learning about the modern day mystic and walking the path of a modern day mystic. And then Sunday, there's that beautiful church service that just starts your week the right way, and in the way of love and acceptance and song. And if David's leading it, I don't know if you're leading it that Sunday, but oh my God, he's got the most magnificent voice. So thank you, David.
Thank you, Marla. It's been great to be here again.
Always love having you on. So grateful for you. And I want to thank Bridget for all you do to get the show, not just for the show, to keep me on track and get what I need to get done. You are my right hand, my left hand, and I am so grateful for you. I want to thank you, the listening audience, for taking time out of your day, out of your life to be a part of this show. Whether you're here live or you listen to a replay, it's irrelevant. We do this for you to bring you information and knowledge that you may not otherwise get. And we bring it to you by some of the most incredible metaphysicians across the globe, David Robertson being one of them. And you can check out David at his Facebook page called Ro-Hun, Rohun Asheville. And his email address is blueridgemystic1@gmail.com. In case you have any questions for David directly, please feel free to reach out to him. So grateful that you are part of this show each and every week. Again, as I started the show, I'll end the show by asking that you please send love, support, prayers for the people of Ukraine, for the countries that are housing the refugees, the people are trying to escape and find new safe land to be in. They need so much in the way of just prayers and light and love and things you can send esoterically, but they need money, they need food, they need bandages, they need clothing, they need so many things. So if you can open up your heart in any way you can, that would be so gratefully appreciated, not just by me, but by those who are on the receiving end. Also, let's not forget to send Vladimir Putin love, because again, as I say, anybody who could do such heinous acts to other beings of light in the human form really needs it. So please send love and forgiveness to him. If you're going to be in Charlotte on Friday, tomorrow, I will be at the Bag Lady from 2:30 to 6:30. You can find me at 1560 East, 1516 East 4th Street. And I hope that if you would like to see, you'll say hello, you'll stop in if you're in the neighborhood, schedule an appointment. And if you're not able to do it on that day, I do sessions remotely. So check out my website at Marla Goldberrg. Goldberg has 2Rs.com, so that we can see how we can work together. So as I leave you, as always, I send you love, blessings, and gratitude. Know how grateful I am that you're in my life in whatever capacity you're in it, because you are not only my student, you are my teacher. And I am grateful to be able to learn from you. And if you haven't heard these words today, I'm going to say them again. I love you. You are loved. You are loved, and you may not even know it. So be aware love is being sent your way. And until next week, stay well and take care. Bye for now.